Hey, I'm Mike Finnegan, and today I'm here at Buff Guys Detailing, and Evan and the crew are about to correct the paint on my Barn Find Firebird, and then protect it with some Gtechniq ceramic coating. It's going to be amazing.
So, Mike, thanks for coming in today, buddy.
Yeah.
Just want to ask the story of how you got this Firebird.
It's pretty ridiculous. I was at Paradise Drag Strip, which is in Calhoun, Georgia, and we were testing a car there for an episode of Roadkill. And when we were all done, one of the track workers, Brett, just said, just nonchalant, he's like, "Have you seen the junkyard?" And I said, "What junkyard?" He's like, "There's a junkyard here." And I look around, and all I see is trees. This drag strip is surrounded by trees. And we hop on his golf cart, and he takes me into the woods. Doesn't kill me, which is nice. And there's cars everywhere. Old cars. We're talking GTOs, Novas, Camaros, Mustangs, just littered throughout the woods. And they're all, pretty far gone because they've been there forever. The guy that used to own the drag strip, Otto, had passed away, and he had just been collecting stuff. And on our way out, we stopped by one of the coolest looking barns I've ever seen in my life. Like, it just looks perfect, like the kind of thing you see in a photo. And I said, "What's in the barn?" And he opens it up, and there's a 28 Plymouth sedan, fully restored,
Oh my gosh.
covered in dust. There's an old Chevy C20 truck covered in dust, and there's this yellow Firebird that just sitting on 4 flat tires, covered in dust, hadn't moved in almost 2 decades. And I was like, oh my God. It's on my bucket list of cars to build before I die. And it's a big tire Pro Street drag car that Otto owned. It was the last car he ever raced.
Oh.
And I just happened to be there on a day where Otto's widow wanted to get rid of it. And I was like, I will be back tomorrow. And
Nice.
I'm going to bring some friends and some tools. And I didn't want to haul it out on a trailer. I'm like, I want to get this thing running. And so my friends and I went back, and the barn is full of dead rats and spiders and just nasty stuff everywhere. And we pulled the car out, like this gnarly storm came all of a sudden, and just, we're getting just flooded basically. But we managed to, in about 5 hours, get the motor rolled over, fired up, tires aired up, and at 10 o'clock at night, we pulled out onto this drag strip. They turned the lights on, and Otto's widow jumped in the passenger seat, and I did a burnout with her in her
Nice.
husband's car, and just brought it home. And I love the car, but I love the story more than the car. I don't know, about a week or two ago, I called you, and I had finally washed it because the car was super moldy. And so what I've learned is if you want a car to run or you want to go faster, I'm your guy. But if you want it to look pretty, I come here. So yeah, I think you guys are gonna, basically make it look as good as it can, given that it's sat in a barn for almost 2 decades. And then we're gonna road trip it to Texas.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's gonna be amazing.
Mike, we did your boat, I guess about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I watched
so
it once.
You've tasted the sweet nectar of ceramic coatings, and I think when we first met, you're like, Evan, I don't have anything that's shiny, but when I do, kind of deal. So, but with what needs to be shiny, we're happy to do, and then we're planning on putting a coating on the car, so have it protected for going to Texas. So.
Yeah, the boat is legit the only thing I have with a nice paint job, and so legitimately, I haven't washed it, and there are no water spots when I take the boat out of the water. So I am a big believer in the ceramic coating process now, and this car, I wouldn't say it's a show car now, but at one point this was a really nice paint job. Yeah. And so I know you guys can get it back to a fairly decent level and then protect it, which
awesome.
We're about to go cross country in the car, driving. So yeah, it would be cool.
Cool.
The car's covered in dirt for 20 years. I bring it to you. In my garage under my lights, I can see, the scratches and in what I'm guessing is the clear coat. Like, what is the process to get it nice and then protect it?
Sure. Yeah, so we're going to wash it really good, do a decon, get any minerals and stuff out of there chemically that we can. We'll do a really good clay, get everything sheared off and smooth.
Okay.
And then we'll start probably a 2-step compounding and polishing process. Once we get everything corrected perfectly, we'll strip everything down, get all the oils and stuff off from polish, and then we'll start the coating process. And we'll probably, depending on, we don't even know if it's a clear coat or single stage, but
How do you tell?
transfer on your pad when you start polishing, and we'll measure around and see if how many coats of paint have been put on it or where it's been damaged and stuff beforehand. But yeah, we'll assess paint at that point, and then that'll determine our route into which specific coating. But either way, we'll probably end up with XO or C0 on the top of our base layer, whether it be Ultra or C1. So yeah.
And we have a
keep it above.
That's a legit thing. It's got no wipers. They didn't pay me to say that. There's literally no wipers on the car, and I have no plans to put them on because I don't have time.
Yeah.
So I need something that when I'm driving through a Texas storm will.
Sure, man.
Yeah.
He has expectations for a shinier car, but that means a lot of different steps have to be taken to get that way. So what we've done on this one, after assessing the paint, looks like it's been resprayed at least 20 years ago. We walked around, noticed that there was a lot of soak-in, dieback. We noticed there's a lot of texture to the paint that wasn't the acceptable orange peel. We weren't going for a concourse car. We wanted something that looked nice, walk around it at a show. It's a lighter color, so you're not going to pick up on every little dimple in it. So a lot of the sections we actually sanded down, got that soak in from the bodywork being sanded down out, and then we were able to get the dullness and scratches out fairly easily with compounding. So some sections we just compounded with a wool pad just to kind of lessen the texture. Others we had to be a little more aggressive and do a 1,000 grit, 2,000 grit, and kind of work down from there in our polishing systems. On this car, with it being a little bit older, slightly unknown entity with the clear coat, we're going to do a C1, C0 combo. C1 is our kind of the tried and true original offering, and then C0 is actually aero coat. It's used in race cars for drag coefficient and whatnot. Not that we're going for that, but the surface tension is super light on this. So if it gets rubber thrown up on it or anything like that, it's going to be a lot easier to pull off, and the durability of it is going to be more than sufficient to get it on whatever road trip he wants to take it over the next couple of years. So I think Mike is going to be Mike with his car. He's going to do a lot of smoky burnouts and crazy trips with it. We'll also be putting, given that it doesn't have any windshield wipers, we'll be putting some G1 on the glass and getting that sorted out for him. So he won't have to install windshield wipers when he drives to Texas in it. I think that's his next trip he's got scheduled. forward to Mike's reaction to it. I think he'll be quite pleased. And a lot of times when I'm doing details, I'm doing things that not necessarily everybody will notice. You know, we've done concourse cars, we've done, you know, daily drivers. You really have to strike a good level because you come into what's a good value for that customer. I may have gone a little bit crazy with this one, but you know, it's for Mike, so it'll be all right. I think he'll be thrilled.